This tutorial will show you how to draw an L shape in isometric projection, a little bit like a bookend, if you can imagine that. You may be able to use any of the equipment in front of you here that I have if you have them. If you don't have them, just a pencil will suffice. Okay, so I'll show you how to use them. So I'll work with a ruler, but throughout I'll tell you ways that you can do this without a ruler or without the tools. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw the back edge of our L shape. Okay, so I'm going to just move slightly to the left of my page, and I'm going to go in the top half of my page. I'm going to draw a line that's maybe around 5 centimeters. Something like that. Okay, then I'm going to draw in, and you'll have seen the first video on just drawing a basic cube. You'll know that the reason I'm drawing a horizontal line here is this will give me something to measure from. Okay, so you're going to draw that, and then you're going to do the same on the top here. Like so. So what I want is for this to be the back part, and I'd like my L shape to come forward, excuse me, from there. So I'm going to take my protractor and I'm going to have it upside down. I'm going to measure the 30-degree mark there. However, if I didn't have my protractor, I could just make a guess. Using my ruler, I could make a guess at what was 30 degrees. Equally, if I don't have a protractor but I have one of these, if you have a slightly larger one, it's probably a 30-degree set square. That's even better. But if you have one of these which comes in the standard math set, this is a 45-degree, which isn't quite so good because it's not accurate to normal isometric drawings always done in 30-degree projection. But you could cheat and just use this, and it would be a 45-degree one. For the purposes of this exercise, that would also be fine. Equally, if you don't have a ruler, you could just, if I just draw this down here in the corner, you could just do this freehand. So there's my vertical line, and then we're just about to draw a line here, and I'm guessing that this is about 30 degrees, this angle, but it's just a guess. Okay, again, you can do that. So you can take part in this tutorial even if you have very limited materials. Okay, so what I'm going to do is coming back here, I'm going to join this point with the point that I've put there, which is my 30 degrees. So just to be clear, it's that angle there that's 30 degrees, okay? So once we've got that, so that is the back and the side of our L shape. So what we need to now do is use our protractor again, or guess. I'm going to go to the top point, and we're going to mark a 30-degree line there, okay? And then this is going to give us the width, sort of the bookend, the L shape. So we're going to join those two lines up, like so. Okay, so again, if we were down here, we could be making a judgment, something like that, that's 30 degrees, like so. Okay, so what we're going to do is assume that there is a thickness to this L shape, okay? That it's not just made from a thin piece of paper. So we're going to draw a vertical line to show the thickness of the wood if it's a bookend, okay? So I'm going to draw mine around 1 centimetre in thickness, like so. And then I'm going to effectively draw the same line as this one, a parallel line from the top going up here. I won't draw it all the way to the edge, just leave a gap like so. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same for this one. I'm going to move, so I can mark it as 1 centimetre so that I'm accurate, or I can guesstimate. But I need a parallel line here, like so. Okay, and with this one, we can actually go all the way to the bottom, because this one, this bookend is going to just be made by a butt joint. So if I rub out those lines there, effectively what we've got is a piece of wood at the top and a piece of wood at the bottom, and they're meeting each other. Okay, and again, doing it freehand, we just draw a little line there, parallel line here, parallel vertical line there. Okay, so that's where we are so far. That's how far we've got. Right, coming down to this bottom point here, we're going to draw ourselves another dotted line in. Okay, and from that point we're going to measure another 30 degrees going up in this direction, like so. And what we're going to do is join the base with that line, like so. Okay, and you've guessed it, we're going to do the exact same parallel line above it. So I'm just doing this by eye. I'm not using a set square, which I would if I was doing a proper design drawing. So it may be slightly inaccurate, but it's not too bad. Okay, great. We need to show the other front edge of this piece of wood here, so I'm going to draw myself a parallel line to this one. Okay, so it's straight up, straight down, vertical line, like so. Okay, now we can either, at this point, what we need to do is we need to draw a line that is vertical to this one. And we can either guesstimate by using our ruler, so have it lined up on that side and then gently move it away. Make sure that it's sort of an equal distance, like so, and then we can draw it in. That would be easy enough. Or we could be really, really precise with it. We could draw ourselves another baseline to measure from, like so. We can place our protractor on top and we can mark our 30 degrees. And then we'll know it's definitely the right angle, like so. Okay, so hopefully it's starting to sort of make sense now and take shape for you. So let's come back to this point here. Again, we can use our protractor. I would need to just put another small baseline to work from, just to make sure I get my protractor nice and level. Although actually, you wouldn't need to do that because you've got this vertical line. So as long as you line up your vertical line on top of that one, like so, then you'll know that that's definitely at the right angle. So you can then mark your 30-degree point there. And then you can join up this point and the corner, like so. So at this point you might want to just erase any lines that you no longer need. Nearly there, but before I finish that off, I just want to come back down to my freehand and just make sure that anyone that's not using any protractors or rulers knows what they'll be doing next. So again, you can draw yourself a baseline here. You can do a guess at 30 degrees. You want it to be parallel to that line. So again, I'm just looking, I'm guessing. I might have to correct it. It's just a very rough guess, but I feel like those two lines are roughly parallel. I can then draw another line here that's parallel to those two lines. I can draw another line here that's parallel to those two lines. So unlike perspective drawing, where these lines would all converge to a vanishing point in the distance, these never touch, they're always parallel. And that's the difference between perspective drawing and drawing for design and technology. We usually always use isometric projection and never perspective drawing. It's just a convention, it's a preference. So we're pretty much at the same point here. what we need to do is sort out this corner and just finish it off. Okay, so this edge here is actually going to be parallel with this line. So it's another one that's 30 degrees below the line. So we can turn our protractor, line it up on that vertical, and we can mark off 30 degrees over here. We're obviously not going to draw it all the way to over there, but that gives us a marker, and we line up those 2 points, and that enables us to draw that line to the edge there, like so. We can draw our vertical line in now from here, straight up, straight down, making sure it's parallel to this line here, like so. And we just need to put these others in there. Again, you can measure it, but I'm just going to use my estimation, making sure it's parallel to that line. I'm going to draw that line in to meet there, like so. This line may not be quite long enough, so what we just need to do is we need to make sure that we add in this line. Now this is not a flat line, again this is a 30-degree line, so we've got to make sure that we get that in accurately. So you can put that onto that point there. You could have drawn yourself if you want to. In fact, let's just do that just to make sure that we're doing this properly. Just give yourself a little guideline to work on. Pop your protractor on there. And we've gone off the page. I'll just use my, luckily I'm using my sketchbook, so I don't mind doing a dot on there. Okay, line those up and then just draw that line to that point there. Okay, so that's our bookend, or our L shape in isometric projection. Obviously now what we need to do is just rub out any of the lines we don't need. We can add shading. What I'll do here though first is I'll just finish off this example. So remember this line is parallel to this line, so I'm going to draw that in. This line and this line are vertical parallel lines. This line is a vertical parallel line. This line is parallel and 30-degree line, same as this one, same as this one. Okay, and this line is a 30-degree line up here, parallel, like so. Almost met up, almost worked perfectly, which isn't too bad. Having not used a ruler or a protractor, I don't think that's too bad at all. Okay, so again, just a little explanation of how the tonal shading would work. So in design and technology, you do need to render your drawings. Now rendering is basically the subject-specific, precise terminology, if you like, slightly more grown-up word for either colouring or shading. So rendering, infill is what it means. And so it could be that you want to render this so it looks like it's made from pine wood, in which case you might use some brown coloured pencils and you might even draw on the grain of the wood. Okay, so that's something that we can show you in a later tutorial how to do that. But for now, just going to shade it. The rendering I'm choosing is shading, just to bring it to life a little bit so anyone looking at it can understand that it's supposed to be a three-dimensional object. So we're going to choose our light source. I tend to usually go top left, but it can be anywhere you like. I always go to the opposite side, start my shading there. This is going to be the darkest side because, of course, it's in shadow from the natural light source or the lamp. Doesn't matter if it's natural or not, really, just the light source. Always shading in the same direction as the 30-degree lines so that we're making sure that it's really, really neat. And I always slow right down, make my pencil strokes much, much smaller as I get towards the edges, like so. And then we'll do a mid-tone on this side. You could stop there to try and show that these are two separate pieces of material, to just try and make that point if you wish. And you're going to shade in this in a mid-tone as well. Now this will be just as dark as this initial panel, because of course it's pointing in the opposite direction to the light source. So you make this one a nice dark tone. As always, I'm doing this much faster than I'd expect you to, and it's really just so the video is not too long. You really do need to slow down and take your time, but also because I've practiced doing this so many times, I am able to do it at a slightly faster speed than I'd demand from you. And just finishing off the edges, come down with the vertical to fill in that gap. And you can always add a little shadow. And if you want to, you can add a horizon line, so you could just fill in, for example, one that you've already drawn as a, oh, excuse my head. Let's just pretend that that's the edge of a table. You can always add a little bit of shading that just blends off into the distance, perhaps above that line. That just sort of helps us to imagine it's on a workbench, perhaps in a workshop, like so. Okay, so there we go. There's an L shape or bookend, if you like, in 30-degree isometric projection.